How many deals have you done?
Over my real estate career, I've done over probably 180.
And mostly all creative finance?
Yeah. Last year, I did 90 Subto deals, right?
90 Subto deals?
I did 90.
Dang, just Subto?
Just Subto.
Dang.
Just from this one list.
Kevin Choe, how's it going, baby?
Kevin Choe.
Kevin Choe.
That's my name.
The creative finance genius.
You know, you had Pace on the podcast like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go along?
Great. Got some viral clips out of it.
Yeah, I saw them on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I can't. It's a lot of pressure when you're talking about creative finance after Pace.
Yeah.
Like you're like he's done like 100. I'm done like maybe like 10% of what he's done. You know,
Yeah.
if that.
How many deals have you done?
Oh, over my real estate career, I've done over probably 180. I think
180?
little under 200.
And mostly all creative finance?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
And then you also have a rental portfolio with creative finance, right?
Yeah. I think the last time I spoke with you, my rental portfolio was like a little over 30. I think it was at 13 or 14. And I'm just under 30. I'm like 28, 29.
Dang. All right. So the first part of this podcast, I want to talk about buying rentals with creative finance.
Yeah.
And then the second part, I want to talk about wholesaling creative finance.
Okay.
So for people that don't know who you are, can you give us your quick backstory?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Choe, and I'm based out in Phoenix, and my real estate career has been based around creative finance since for the last 3 years. And for the last 3 years, I've done over 150 creative finance deals, subject to seller finance, wraparound mortgages, and all those things. And that's been my niche for the last 3 years. And I have a portfolio of just under 30 houses, single family, and duplex, triplex, quad, fourplexes, all bought using creative finance. None of my own money, none of my own credit, and I started buying them when I was 21, which was 2 years ago. And all of them are cash. And what I do with those houses is I buy them with obviously with creative finance, and I turn them around and do Airbnb, midterm rental, and we just got into Section 8 as of 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, so they have context. So I'm Brian Davila. I've done almost 400 transactions, but I've never done a creative finance deal.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're like
Wow.
almost opposite.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I wanna give both perspectives. So I've done always flipping, wholesaling, buying rentals, traditional, DSCR loans, stuff like that. I have Airbnbs, some multifamily, but nothing creative finance.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, but I want to get into creative financing, but we'll talk about that later.
Right.
So, so before we get into how to buy rentals using creative finance, because that's typically how people could buy houses with no credit, no tax returns, no banks, just taking over someone's mortgage. So I know a lot of people want to do that.
Right.
Can you explain what is creative finance?
So creative financing is basically, as the name suggests, it's literally you're creatively financing the home, right? So like typically, like for you, you've done 400 of the traditional BRRRR method, where you buy the house out of cash and you fix and flip it, and then you refinance the house, you pull all your money out, and you get into the deal with like at the end of the zero. Sometimes you have your money in the deal. Sometimes you even make more money by refinancing the house, depending on how cheap you bought the house at. But with creative finance, you're not really going through all that stuff, right? Because you're already working with you're already working with existing mortgage that's already in place, right? So that would be the strategy called subject to, where you're taking the house subject to the existing mortgage. But then there's the other side of the creative finance where it's more common. It's called the seller financing, where the seller would own the house, free and clear for the last 20, 30 years. And then like, you know what? If I sell this house right now and I get a check for $350,000, and I don't do anything with this money, I'm gonna get taxed on that, and I'm gonna lose a good chunk of change. So it's one of many strategies that people use in real estate, and it usually almost always does not require any of your credit.
Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on how you structure the deal, it does not require any of your own money as well.
Got it. So that seller finance, right? What is subject to? Because that's also another creative finance.
Right. So subject to is so like the house. So one of the reasons why I'm here in Vegas is I bought a house subject to the existing mortgage up in Centennial, where the homeowner had recently bought the house at 2.9%. and then a year and a half later, the husband and the wife go through divorce. But then they bought the house with like, I think they bought it for like 430, and they owed like $420,000 on the house because in the beginning of the of the loan, you're not paying down much mortgage, and the house didn't appreciate. So if the homeowner were to get a full price offer for 430, and they sold it for 420, the homeowner will cut a check.
Yeah.
And Audrey is the homeowner's name, and he comes to me and says, hey, like, I bet hey, if I can just get like $2,500, or if I can make $5,000 on this deal, I'll be happy. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the interest rate that you have on the house? He goes, well, I think I have like 2.8, 2.9. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you want, so you have a 2.9% interest rate mortgage, and you just want $5,000 from the sale of the house, and that's all you want. So that's a house I bought, I think it's 9 months ago, and I took over the existing mortgage payment, and my payment is like $1,600, and we have a tenant moving in for like, I think like 20. Well, it's a midterm rental, so we got a tenant moving in for like $3,500. Right, but the advantage to that doing a subject to deal is you get to take advantage of the low interest rates.
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much you're buying properties and just taking over the existing mortgage by putting yourself on title and removing the seller off title.
Right.
That's why, and the bank doesn't technically know, or they might know how.
They might know. They most likely they will know. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, banks are in the business to collect money, right? Yeah. So it's like, what's the point of, if they're making money, why would they spend money to foreclose on somebody else's house? Yeah. Just for them to deploy that money again.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So you're rather taking over a mortgage subject to its current terms, right, taking over title, or you're creating a loan with the seller and taking over title. Again, not using a bank, so no credit, no tax returns, none of that stuff. Right. Got it. Okay, so now let's get into your rental properties. You own 29 rental properties, and you got them all creative finance.
Every single one of them.
All of them creative finance. Yeah. So let's just say someone's listening to this and they're like, dude, I want to buy rental properties, but maybe they work at McDonald's and they don't qualify for a loan. They don't make enough to qualify for a house. Or there's someone like Brianna, my social media manager here. We'll pop up a picture of her so you guys see who she is. But
like a mugshot?
Yeah, like a mugshot. She's been arrested a couple of times. We'll just throw it out there. But say Brianna here wants to buy a primary house, but for whatever reason, tax returns, bank statements, or whatever the case, they can't. Right. How do they find properties to do creative finance?
Right. And it doesn't even have to be like you're working at McDonald's and not making any money. Like, yeah, you make good money and I make, decent amount of money. But like some people are just not in the position, because their income is just not stable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could be you could
have
a
whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah, you could be completely broke, or you could be really, really rich, but still like bankability is just a whole different conversation. But in a creative finance transactions, there's two ways, right? Subject to, and then the seller finance. And when it comes to taking a house over subject to, you're going after a seller that is in somewhat of a distress usually, right? Yeah. Like for example, Audrey, it's a girl's name, but it's a guy. So Audrey, he bought the house for $430, and he owed around $420,000 on the house when he came to sell the house. Yeah. But the house was worth only $430 at that time because the house didn't go up too much in the last 18 months. So he's like, you know what? If I sell this house right now, I have no equity, so I won't be able to make any money on this deal. If anything, I'm gonna cut a check for $10,000, $15,000. So at that point, it's like, well, I'd rather just when most people don't have 10 to 15 grand laying around, just and that they're happy to write a check just to get rid of the house. Yeah. Right. So what I presented to Audrey was, Audrey, I'll come in, I'll give you instead of you cutting a check for 15 grand, I'll give you $5,000 and I'll take over your existing mortgage payment. Yeah. And Audrey was super happy because now he as he was going through divorce, he does not have to take care of the mortgage payment. He does not have any any more bills with the house, right? Like the electricity bill, Wi-Fi, landscaping, HOA, none of that. And then he can just move on from the house completely and actually because I've been paying the mortgage for the last 9 months, his credit actually went up a little bit. You know, because I text him, you know, every other month. He's like, hey, you know, we just made the mortgage payment, and he texted me saying, hey, thank you so much for taking over my mortgage payment. Because you've been making my mortgage payment, my credit score actually went up, and he's actually buying another house, I think in Texas.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty much you're looking for distressed homeowners that have no equity when you're doing subject to.
Yep.
Do you ever buy houses with equity subject to?
Yes, I have, and that was and you can do it either the different ways. But the one when I bought my first house, it was a house I bought Subto, but that house was in foreclosure. So the homeowner could have sold the house outright, and you know they could have made a little bit more money, but because they were in such a time crunch, they just let me take over the mortgage payment, and I was able to take the entire equity altogether.
Got it.
So in that situation, there's two different types of distress in Subto, right? The first one was a no equity, where you can sell, you can put your house on the market for however long you want. You still have no equity.
Yeah.
But the second scenario is where the homeowners are in foreclosure.
Distress, yeah.
Where they're like, you know what? If I had 1 more month, if I had 2 months to sell this house, I could just sell it and make money. But because I only have 2-3 weeks to sell the house, I need to just let go of my equity and just do a quick sale.
Yeah. What about, okay, so let's say I was just like, all right, Kevin, you have to buy a house subject to in the next 30 days, and you get $1 billion.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. How would you buy a house in 30 days subject to?
You know what I would do? This is exactly what I would do. If I had to go buy a house in the next 30 days, Subto, I would literally I'll go to the county recorder's office, or not even county. I'll just go in the MLS, that house that's already on the market, and I'll say, of all these homes, which of these homes were sold were owned for less than 2 years? Okay. And it's gonna give me a list of, you know, I don't know how many houses, probably like, let's just say 1,000 houses.
How do you get that data?
You can literally so there's a software called PropStream, and you can look up, you know, here in Clark County, you can look up Clark County and look at all the homes in Clark County that's listed on the market. So like filtered one will be this, it's listed on the market, and the homeowner has owned the house for less than 2 years. It's one of those filters. Yep. And I would look at all those houses, and I would just say, hey, and I would look at the mortgage balance on the house, right? Because mortgage balance is, you know, it is a public record. So like if you have a mortgage on one of your house, I can look it up and see, hey, Brian, you owe $360,000 on this house. Yep. And I'll compare. Okay, let's just say you have a house, or let's just say we go to PropStream and we pull the list, and there's 123 Main Street. That's selling for 430. But when I look up on the PropStream through public record, they owe around 420, 415, 410. Yeah. And I'll just find those people. Yeah. And there's going to be a couple hundred people. And those are the people that I would just market to every single day. Because they can't market to them. I would either just send them a direct mail. I'll skip trace them. My main method would be just calling them. Like I'll skip trace them and say, hey, and I'm a straight shooter, right? Like, hey, you owe 430 on this house. You owe 420 on this house. You're trying to sell this for 430. How does this math work out? Yeah, you're gonna cut a check. Yeah, and 90% of the time they're gonna say no. I don't want to do that. Yeah, because I don't want a mortgage on my name. Blah blah blah. But like 60 to 70% of my deals, it comes from the homeowners that initially said no, but because they've been on the market for 30, 60, 90 days at a time, and they're still stuck in that situation. They're still stuck in that no equity situation. So I'll say, you know what? Hey, I'm still here. 30 days later, I'm still here. 30 days later, I'm still here. And eventually they're like, hey, let's do this. Yeah.
What about do you skip trace through PropStream too?
No.
Who do you skip trace through?
The technical word for my skip tracing is, I don't do the skip tracing. I do background search. Because skip tracing, the problem with skip tracing is you can't, when you own the house for less than 1 to 2 years, it's hard for you to find the data of the person that is owning that house like presently. Yeah. Because you're most likely, if you skip trace it, you're gonna find the homeowner that owned it before, because previously. The data is it doesn't update automatically. Super fast. Yeah. I use I use a background search, and it's called Forewarn.
For what?
Forewarn.
I've never heard of that.
Forewarn, and only real estate agents can have it.
Oh, real estate agents?
Yeah, only real estate agents. And the purpose of Forewarn is, let's just say you're a buyer's agent and you're like, I don't know this. I don't really know this person too well. And I'm walking into a house with them in a closed space. I want to make sure I'm protected.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'll do is I'll pull up Forewarn. I'll say Brian Davila and your date of birth and all that stuff, which you would get just by looking at their driver's license or something. And it's going to give you all the list of the phone numbers that you had for the last, 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
And it's going to give me a list of all the houses that you lived at or that you're associated with at any given time. And it's also going to give you like any criminal records. Did you have a driving speeding ticket? Did you run the red light? Did you have any third degree murder? Whatever it is, like everything. You can.
I went dark
everything.
real quick.
Yeah,
like speeding ticket, third degree.
But I kid you not, this is underlooked strategy, because I have never not been able to find somebody on Forewarn.
What about, okay, so you have to pull those lists one at a time?
One at a time.
That's crazy.
It is so tedious.
So do you do that, or you have a VA that does it?
I have a VA named Jay that does it for me.
Damn. Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, that sounds like a lot of work.
It legitimately, if I want to skip trace, probably like it would take Jay 8 hours for him to skip trace 500.
500?
Yeah.
That sucks. That's crazy.
But then I get numbers that nobody else has.
That's good.
So like if
how much does that cost?
It's a monthly subscription, $15
for unlimited numbers.
Unlimited.
That's wild. That's crazy.
Right. So
that nugget was worth you listening to this podcast. So subscribe to this channel, and when this podcast is over, go subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Yes. Honestly, this was a game changer, because when I first started doing the Subto deals, I was like, oh my God, I can never find these homeowners. They own the house for 3, 6, 9, 12 months, and sometimes upwards of 24 months. Every single time I skip trace, like I'm calling the homeowner that owned the house like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. The previous homeowner.
Yeah.
2 homeowners ago.
It's hard to get the data.
Yeah, it's hard to get the data, and I'm like, is there a solution to this? And I'm like, and that's when I had a friend of mine that I met at the mastermind. And she goes, hey, you can't find this person? Let me look it up. And she pulls that Forewarn. I'm like, oh my God, what the heck is Forewarn? And she goes, what's their name? I'm like, oh, Brian Davila, 123 Main Street. And then I'm like, boom, hey, here's his number. Did you see it on your CR? Did you ever find this number ending in 1234? I'm like, no, I didn't find it. And I call him, hey, is this Brian? Like, this is Brian. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so powerful.
Interesting. So anyway, so you skip trace, you pull 500 numbers. How crazy. That's literally the best deal you could get in real estate, is a 0 interest deal. That's the best. That's better than the flip. That's better than the wholesale. That's better than multifamily. That's better than everything. Because if you put a tenant in there and they're the ones paying the $2,000, it's crazy.
5221 North 23rd Avenue in Phoenix.
How'd you get that one?
A wholesaler brought it to me.
A wholesaler brought you that deal?
I was like, you're going to sell me this deal?
How much did you pay them?
I paid them 10.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I guess how much I paid the seller?
How much?
15.
Oh my God.
It was like $700 something thousand house.
Oh my God.
I put 15 grand down.
Hold on, we're going to stop the podcast. If you get a 0% down interest deal, DM me, the Brian Davila, or Brian Davila Real Estate.
DM me, Kevin Choe 12.
Beat this out, beat this out, Brianna. Actually, we're not going to release this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, seriously, that's crazy. Why would the wholesaler do that?
You know what? Ask Ali Flanagan, Belinda Lee. They're the 2 people that sold me the deal, and I'll give you the homeowners. I'll give you the seller's information. Salvador.
Why do you remember all the sellers' names? I've never remembered any of my sellers' names.
You know why? You know why I remember the seller's name?
Why?
Because I want him to sell me more.
Oh, he owns more?
Oh yeah. Same. Oh my God, this is even better. So
it's like an infomercial.
522.
But wait, there's more.
Brian, listen to this. 5221. Listen to this, everybody. Listen. This is even better. 5221 North 23rd Avenue in Phoenix. I bought the house. right? 15 grand down to the seller,
Uh-huh.
pay the 10K assignment fee, 25 grand all in. Plus closing costs. I mean, I'm all into this deal, $30,000
Yeah.
on a $650,000 house. Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's like less than 5% down.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a house right behind it, 2-bedroom, 2-bath that was furnished as performing as an Airbnb.
Uh-huh.
Guess who owns that house?
Pace.
No,
You?
no.
Ali?
Salvador Rich, the seller, same
Oh,
seller.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the same seller is selling me the same exact house. I mean, the house right behind it, and so I'm buying the 3 units, and I'm also buying the single family house right behind it.
That's insane.
And that house, and we're closing on that sometime.
Wholesalers are crazy.
You know what? No, they're not.
Pace talked about this. We talked about this on the podcast that we did.
I wonder why they sold it. I'm like,
Did you ask them, or were you like, oh, okay, yeah, send it over Simon. Let's lock this in.
you gotta play it cool.
Yeah.
You gotta like, I don't know if it's a good deal. Hold on, let me talk to my partner. I'll go back in 2 hours.
Yeah, don't hang up though. Hold on.
Yeah, don't.
Like, God, please.
Oh my God, please. So actually, they sent it to me on my email.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't pull it. I don't know when it was. It was like
Yeah.
2 months ago. They sent it to me.
I believe you.
Yeah, address is already out there. They send it to me, and I'm like, oh, this is a really good deal.
Yeah.
But I play it cool. I'm like, all right, hold on. Let me check out let me check it out. Let me talk to my partner and make sure this is a good deal, and I'll give you a call back in like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and I hang up. I'm like screaming inside. I'm like, this is the best deal.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, oh, and then I call back 2 hours. I think we can make it work.
Dang, you have balls. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd be like, let's go. Send over the assignment right now. We'll stay on the phone.
Yeah, but yeah, that was one of the good deals.
Okay, so to go back to my original question, why do you feel like you should get into multifamily if your current strategy is working so well?
I think it's scaling, right? Because
What does that mean?
Because for me to go buy a single family and do all the splits and let's just say down the road I sell the house, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to tear that wall down, or else it's not gonna, or else we're gonna run into permitting issues. But it's a lot easier. Like, you know, when you have a 3-bedroom, like this triplex, for example, it's like literally right next to each other. So we just, like, for us to furnish that all triplex, there's no renovation. It was all fixed. It was fixed and flipped. So for us to go in and furnish that thing, it would be less than 7 days. It's 2 days per each house.
Yeah.
6 days.
Yeah.
And we can just get that rented out really quickly.
Yeah.
And when you also have a triplex and then also a single family house in the back, the management is a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's like you can kill so many birds with one stone.
Oh.
But versus if you have single family scattered all over the valley, it's like, oh my gosh, this is a little bit more work on the management.
What about I guess career-wise, where do you see yourself going? What's your 1, 5, and like future goal? How old are you?
23.
You're 23. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Psh, that's crazy, dude. When I was 23, I was on drugs.
Really?
Yeah, just so you know that. Yeah.
Did you get some mugshot?
No mugshots.
No mugshot.
Okay.
No. For me, I don't know. That's a tough question because I just don't really have a goal. I'm like everybody's buying real estate, you know, or at least my circle, right?
Yeah.
The people in my circle, everyone's buying real estate. So this year I have a goal to buy 100 units.
Wow.
So I have 70 more to go.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, and it goes back to your previous question. I can't do that with single family. I can't buy 70 single family in 1 year.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so much work.
Yeah. Pace could freaking do it. Pace is
Pace has done it.
Crazy person.
He's done it.
Yeah. There's like 300 single families, I think he said.
Yeah.
Or more.
I mean, he just bought 25 last year from me.
Yeah.
That's not including anybody else.
So what's your whole team setup?
I have my partner CC who does all the midterm rentals. So like in that partnership, I'm the one that finds all the deals, and I'm the one that raises all the money. Okay, and then she does everything else. And she never calls me. I have a wholesale business where I have a submission form where people if people have like a deal that they want to wholesale, they need help finding a buyer for. Yeah. It goes through me. Like people like submit it to me, and then like my partner Lorraine handles everything on the back end. Got it. So and then I also have a full-time transaction coordinator. She's on salary. So my Lorraine and my transaction coordinator work hand to hand,
Yeah.
and they do everything. All my job is to be out on social media and funneling all the opportunities. And then I have a lending business. It's not big.
It's like Gator.
Yeah, Gator lending.
Yeah.
So I have a partner named Ken. He's out in Vegas here, and he has $1 million liquid, and we do we do like double closes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't talk about it because it's hard for me to talk about like 7 things at the same time, and it will confuse the audience.
For sure.
Right. So we do like one double close a week on average.
How much do you charge on your double closes?
1%.
1%.
Yeah.
You know what, dude? I might hit you up on that actually, because I'm doing a lot of wholesaling right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to double close this, but anyways.
Yeah.
Onward. What were you saying?
Yeah. So we just do one double close a week on average, and we fund probably 2 EMDs, like earnest money deposits.
Yeah.
And that's on a smaller scale. Like I'm trying to grow that once everything else is stabilized. And then I have an acquisitions team. There's a guy named Ryan Vasquez that runs my acquisitions team. We have 2 VAs.
Do you sell education?
No, I don't.
Are you going to?
I have thought about it, but I just launched a school community, free. I don't have a paid one, but it's free. I just launched like 3 days ago. I have like 150 people in there.
I'm gonna launch one now too.
Yeah.
You just inspired me to do that. That's a good idea.
You will make so much money off of school if you did.
Yeah, but you don't get any money off of school from your community, right?
Oops. You can have different kinds of community, right? So you can have a community where it's a free community, and you can also have a paid community where it's like $197 a month.
$197?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then you can have 100 people in there, $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
Easily recurring, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I didn't want to have a coaching product was because number is
time.
Not even the time, confidence.
The reason, well, one thing you should consider. So obviously I run Wealthy Investor. So we have a huge coaching company.
Right.
The only thing is just like it's a time commitment. Because then like, even if you say, oh, I'm only going to do 1 Zoom call a week. Even if you say that, with people hitting you up and just putting out fires and all this stuff, it just snowballs into this like massive commitment. Even if you say, I used to run the rookie coaching program. For people that don't know, so Wealthy Investor, we have All-Star, that's for experienced real estate people. We have Rookie, that's for people who want to do their first deal. And then we have Partner for people that just want to partner. If you're interested in any of that, we'll have a link in the description. But I did 2 rookie coaching calls a week. You would think, oh, that's 2 hours. Bro, all the questions, and then people sign up. They're like, oh, the Zoom link, I can't figure it out. Oh, Kevin, run this deal. I need you to run it right now.
I know it's 2 a.m. for you, but I think you can do it.
Did you speak to the seller? No. Well, it says it's in escrow. Oh, I didn't know. Like literally just stuff like that where it's just like nonsense. It's a big commitment. I love helping people. But I was thinking about doing one-on-one stuff, but then now I'm just like, dude, it's such a commitment. And I'm sure you're the same, where you don't want to sell stuff and then not deliver. So you're going to feel obligated to like help these people and try to get them results, but it's just a lot.
Yeah, and also there's a different set of expectations, right? Like, hey, I paid you. This is all I'm getting. Versus if nobody paid me, I'm like, dude, just go away. You didn't even pay me anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest like mindset. Like, can I even like confidence wise? Can I deliver? It's one thing to do it. It's one thing to do the deal.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to effectively communicate and deliver on the contents.
100%.
Right. So
I think you could. The only warning I would give you is just the time commitment that it starts to like evolve into. But anyways, so what else? What other goals?
Well, so my partnership with CC on the midterm rentals, Lorraine on my wholesale business, Kent on my lending business, and Ryan on my acquisition side. And then honestly, those 4 businesses are kind of running on its own.
Yeah.
And then I'm just cranking out YouTube videos, shorts, reels, whatever.
Yeah. Well, let's okay, what else on the real estate side? So we talked about how to get them. We talked about how to wholesale. we didn't really talk about wholesaling. Okay, so you wholesale subject to deals. Do you also wholesale seller finance deals?
Yeah. I haven't wholesaled a lot of them, but
Yeah.
from time to time.
Okay, so what makes you decide rather to keep it or to wholesale your deals?
I think you have to really look at what cards you're playing, because if, like, for me, I know that, hey, like this, let's look at this deal, though, 6% seller finance deal that, or 6.5% seller finance deal that we are talking about earlier. Like, I know that if I don't buy the 6.5% seller finance deal, I know for a fact in 30 days I'm gonna get 2, 3, 4% seller finance deal, right?
Yeah, you know, you're gonna get a better deal.
I know I'm gonna get a better deal.
Yeah.
But then I wasn't here, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Right. And then even like the 10% down, like for me, that's a lot. 50 grand down on one deal, that's a lot of money.
That's funny.
It's because you're balling,
No, but well, it's just a different mindset.
Yeah.
It's just like when I'm used. So let's just look at this, right? My average deal, let's say minimum is 300K, right? Because I flip houses in Southern California and here. So average 300K purchase, right?
Okay.
Is that fair? I just picked up a probate deal today. I'm buying it for $369, I think. Putting 10% down, 10 to 15% down, depending on what the hard money lender says the ARV is, right? So 10 to 15% down plus closing costs, plus I'm usually paying the seller's closing costs. So let's say 8K in closing costs. So let's round it from 40K to 50K down, right? And then I'm going to rehab the property. That's going to cost about another $75,000. So where are we at right now? 125.
Yeah.
And then I'm paying holding costs every single month. That's about let's say $3,000 a month, right? Yeah, I'm going to get the $75,000 back when the rehab is done, but I still need to deploy that capital first to even get it back. So my average deal, I'm putting in 100 to 200K average over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm so used to just like wiring money. So when people are like, that's a lot, I'm like, bro, I wish. If I could deploy less money, I would literally make $5 million a year. Easy. I'm doing $1 million a year deploying this much money. If I could deploy less, I'd make double, because I cap out. Sometimes I'm like, dude, I have too much capital going out right now. I have to wait for some to come back. So it's just like completely different.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you make that money back in like 6 months. You make all.
Yeah, I make all that money back.
But then for me, it's like 50 grand. That's just sitting there.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. If you're holding, then yeah, it's not 50 grand out and then, 75 grand coming back. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because 50 grand, like, once like the $31,000 down payment I did, like I won't get that back until I sell the house. Who knows, 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it'd be different if you were wholesaling, because you were just like spending money on marketing. You spend 20K on marketing, but you're planning to make 100K.
Right.
So it's like quick return. But like if you spend 45, 60K all in with repairs, furnishing, down payment, all that stuff, and then you're planning to net 1,500, you're still out for the time being. Right. So that makes sense. Yeah. What were we saying? I don't even know where we're going with that.
I said 10% down is a lot.
Oh yeah, 10% down is a lot. But you were saying that.
I could wait, 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was asking you, why do you choose to wholesale versus keep it? And you said
depends on what cards you have at the moment, right?
Got it.
So like there was I think we're in May. In February there was one. In January I bought 4 houses. That's the most I've ever bought in 1 month. And I'm like, oh my gosh. In February and March we were just like, we had 2 houses we couldn't even get to, because we're so used to buying 1 house a month because they're so good deals.
Yeah.
And then like we bought 4 in 1 month. We raised all the money for it, no problem. But we just didn't have enough crews at that time. So we had 2 houses just sitting, and and while we were sitting, there's a house in Pepper Place where the squatter broke in and broke the window.
Oh shit.
And now it's like, oh my gosh, now we got what was it, $3,000 in windows, whatever.
Yeah.
So like I don't want, and it was a lot of headache. It was a lot for my partner, because when you go from 1 to 4, that's she literally 4x what she was able to handle.
Yeah. I think so. What I've learned with like scaling my flipping and wholesaling business, and so typically I'll have 10 to 15 flips at a time. That's like average. Like I like to be there. Once I get above 15, it gets a little shaky, honestly. But what I've learned with scaling that business and then Wealthy Investor is like it's almost like a muscle where you have to put a lot of stress where 4 just becomes the average. Yeah. And then once you get below 4, once you get back to doing 1, you're like, oh, what are we doing? Like what? Like, are we going out of business? Like, but
going out of business already?
Yeah. But that's how it is. Because once you start to scale, your stress tolerance, goes up, and then you just become normalized to it. Right. That's why like the money thing, I'm used to it. I've had earlier this year, I had a couple of weeks where I had like $4,000 in my bank account with so much money going out. So people have no idea. And that's completely dangerous and stupid. But at the time, I knew the opportunities were there and it made sense. Right. And I still slept good at night. I didn't even stress at all. And that's because of the faith, because going to church and stuff like that, because I used to stress out like crazy. But no one knew. I don't even think I've said this on this podcast. People wouldn't believe, like, dude, you have 6 flips with $4,000 in your bank account. That's dangerous. But because I knew the numbers, and then my faith was so strong, I literally didn't skip a beat. I didn't even stress out. I was just like,
buy more.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. At $4,000, you can't buy more.
Yeah, $4,000. Can't buy more than that. It's a little too shaky. But okay, so before we wrap up, because we're about to go golfing, and we got to try to eat something real quick. Because it sounds like you're killing it, right? It sounds like everything's great, and you're making cash flow, you're making content, you're 23 years old. Like, what are some of the struggles that you're going through as an entrepreneur? Or overall, whatever you want.
Struggles. Oh my gosh.
Or challenges.
I think this is a challenge for me right now, is that there's less people I can take advice from going forward. Okay. It's like right now for you, like you're not going to take advice from your rookie members, right? No. So like now the challenge to go find somebody that you resonate with personally, and actually that you aspire to have their business like. Yeah. And actually like and them even giving you the time. Yeah. That's tough, because the higher you go up, there's less people that you can take advice from, obviously. Yeah. So like I think that's challenges. Like for me, I can only take advice from like Pace and 2 other people.
That's fine. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad. But then like I used to take advice from all these people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which at that point it's like, do you really want to do all that? But like, at least you have options.
Yeah. So what else? I feel like that's nothing. Yeah.
That's.
Because like for me, I take advice from Ryan. Yeah. On business and family and faith. Yeah. I have a guy. His name's Chris Lee. He's like the leader of Wealthy Kingdom. And then her boyfriend Michael Smith. We have a discipleship group. So on the faith side, like with like understanding Christianity, understanding all these things, I go to them because they're like way further along in their walk. With like marriage stuff, I usually go to Ryan. But yeah, I don't have like a broad thing of mentors, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like what you're saying is just kind of normal. Yeah.
It's hard to have personal life for me because I'm single, right? Mm-hmm. And it's hard for me to like say like, okay, for you, your wife can be like, hey, come home, right?
Yeah, I have to come home,
yeah. Spend time with the family and all that. Yeah. But for me, I don't have that. I could legitimately work 20 hours a day and nobody will say a thing. Yeah. And there are times where I come home from, from a project or something, and I come home, it's like empty, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh gosh, if I had someone like home, like there's like personal aspect of that I'm missing out on. Yeah. That's tough.
Something you struggle with?
I struggle with that.
I'll give you more advice. So I have friends that are not in real estate, and they're not rich. They're not like, they literally have like regular ass jobs, like a barber. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They don't do creative finance. They don't do nothing. They don't even care about real estate. They just do their stuff. And whenever I start to feel like, dude, I'm getting tired of like every relationship, there's like a power dynamic or like a business thing. Right. I start to hang out with them more, because then they just talk about completely different crap. And I know sometimes people are like, oh, you got to like get rid of these people. Da, 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 da. But sometimes for me, I need to be around someone that there's no real estate, there's no business, there's no nothing. They're just good, funny people. That makes me feel better. So that's kind of how I get. Because even with my wife, like we don't have business, but we have kids where we have like 4 kids. So it's not just like go home and like, oh, we're just chilling and all the kids are on my lap and we're just watching TV. It's just like this one's crying. One of my kids right now has like some sort of virus. My other kid has pink eye. My baby's like crying all the time. So it's like you need personally, I think sometimes you need someone that's like separate, that's not real estate.
Just to get you out of that frame of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to hear other people talk about stuff that they're not being like, oh, Brian, like how many wholesale deals you do? They're like talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
And it just helps me like unwind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause for me, it's like, I don't have any friends that are not like really
In real estate.
yeah. And you know, so that's been my personal challenge as of recently. And it's harder. Like for business, you usually have I can find a solution to things very easily.
Yeah.
You know, but that's like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to just start dating around like and them holding me back on what I need to do.
What about your community at church?
I'm really not involved in my community.
That's another thing. So like Chris Lee, for example, the guy that runs Wealthy Kingdom.
Yeah.
He's not in real estate. So like when me and him talk, we're not talking about real estate. You know what I'm saying? He's not. It's a completely different mindset. He's not an entrepreneur. He's kind of an entrepreneur, but not really. So I do have a good, I would say a handful of friends that they're like just church friends. And like we go play golf and we're not talking about real estate. Yeah. Like Brandon Driver's another guy that like he's a salesperson, but we're not doing real estate deals together. And he's not asking me for real estate advice. Right. And I'm not we're just talking about his relationships or my stuff or that, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that helps me a lot. Yeah, because I used to struggle with that where I'm like there's like some sort of business affiliation with everyone that I'm around. Mm-hmm. And then you just kind of get burnt out. Yeah. And then you're just like, are these people my friends or is this more like a business relationship?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, take that advice.
Sweet. Are you single?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, ladies. If you're
all right, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Look at all the views that we get.
Yeah.
This is
we're gonna get at least a few thousand on this. So make sure
click the funnel.
Yeah. Click the funnel. You're gonna have to put a $1 deposit to make sure you're
application.
Serious. Yeah. Headshot. All that stuff. Okay, well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave your stuff in the description below, but for people listening, if they want to find you, where do they go?
Instagram is the best way. It's Kevin Choe 12. But also, if you want to join my school community, which is completely free, it's Kevin Choe Group.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This was the Wealthy Investor Podcast. We're out. Peace.